Hello, students. This is for those of you who are new to Google Classroom and Google Meet, or maybe you just need a refresher. So the very first thing that we're going to do is you will log into Google, and you can use your Medicine Hat College email for this. And if you click on the apps launcher, or sometimes we call this the waffle, you should be able to find Google Classroom. So you're going to click on that Google Classroom icon. You might have to scroll down to find it. And if you've never joined Google Classroom before, you're going to have a blank page here. If you've joined some classes, you'll see other classes that you've joined in the past. You're going to click on this plus sign in the top right-hand corner, and you're going to pick Join a Class. And then it's going to ask you for a class code. And I'm going to click that to say Join up in the corner. So if you're from Cooley Collegiate, you will have a welcome email that should have some registration information for orientation day. And you might find a chart that looks like this with a Google Meet link and a classroom link. So this is where you would find the Google Classroom link. And we'll start by practicing with this one that's in the purple. So now you're going to be in this Cooley Collegiate classroom. So if I click on there, there's a couple different places that I'll see. We have the stream, and this is where the announcements will be. This is like the hallway or the classroom. You might find a welcome message. You might find some funny things. This is kind of like the non-serious space. And then the classwork tab, we don't have any in here yet. This is where you will find your courses. It'll probably say week 1, week 2, or unit 1, unit 2, that's what you'll see in there. If you want to go to a different class, you would just click on these 3 little bars in the top left, and you can pick a different class. So the next thing that we're going to look at is how you're going to get to your Google Meet. Now, the very first day for orientation, you're going to click the Google Meet link for each of your classes that's in this chart. So you just click on this link and it'll take you there. But later on, when you're in your Google Classroom, there should be a Google Meet link on the top stream page that you would click. And you'll come to a page where you're going to get a join button. All right, so we're just waiting here. There it is. If there are other people in this call, it might already add that, but we're going to press join now. And so just as easy as pressing a link, you are able to join. Now, it's possible that depending how things are set up, you might have to wait for your teacher to add you to the classroom. And so it will say waiting to join, someone will let you in soon. So now that we're in Google Classroom, there's a couple things we can do. Down here is your mute button and your camera button. And so typically a good rule of thumb is that when you join your Google Classroom, you come in with the microphone off. And so the reason that you would come in with the microphone off is so that if something is going on, there's a conversation that you don't interrupt it. And then if it's still chit-chat time, you can turn that on, say hi, and keep that on perhaps until your teacher gets down to the lesson. When the lesson starts, everyone's microphones will be off unless your teacher asks you to turn them on or otherwise. And probably your teacher will have you turn your cameras off during your lesson as well. So this is what it will look like when your camera is off. Okay, so then there's a couple things that you'll see up here. At the top, there is what's called a participant or a people view. A few other neat tips that we want to show you is how to pin a tab. So often you'll be flipping between different tabs on your computer. You might go to a website, you might go to a Google document where you're brainstorming with some classmates, you might go to a site like Socrative where you're answering some questions. So one of the things that can happen is you can accidentally click the Meet tab out. And so the Meet tab always has this little green button with a camera, and while you are in a Meet that's live, it has this little red, it's like a play button that flashes. So what we're going to teach you right now is how to pin that. So if you click on that or 2-finger click and press pin, watch how this is going to float way over to the top left-hand side. And so now even if I click that button, I'm not going to turn the Meet off automatically. So that's pinning a tab. Some other quick tips is if you want to turn your mic on and off, if you notice when you hover over the microphone, it has Command D or Control D. That's a quick setting for if you can't get that little white bar up and turn on your keyboard. So if I just hit, I'm on a Mac, so Command D, you'll notice my microphone for my Meet comes on. And if I want to turn my camera off, it's Command or Control E. So I can, just by toggling on my keyboard, I don't even have to get that bar on the bottom to get that to turn on. Closed captions are something that you might find really helpful. They will tell you whatever the speaker is saying, and those will appear at the bottom. So sometimes if you're having trouble hearing, or you are in a place where you need to be quiet and you can't have your microphone on, you can turn the captions on. And so that is a good option as well. Sometimes your instructor might ask you to present your screen. So you would use the Present Now button. And normally we will use your entire screen because that allows you to switch between tabs if you need to. The share screen, the Present Now, you will only do that if your teacher asks you to. You certainly wouldn't want to do that during the middle of her presentation or his presentation. These three buttons are some important things that can help you if you need to change your layout. The best option is sometimes this spotlight option for when you're with many people, because that will, whatever's on the screen, whether it's your teacher's presentation or who's ever talking, it will take you there. So that's often the best one to use when you are with a bunch of folks. If you have camera issues and you can't see yourself on your camera settings are here. So if you're not showing up, you can check on your camera or your microphone, and you can check your audio, and then you can check your video. And so those are a few different things that you should know about Google Meet. It's very simple. Now, just after I've told you all that, you have to know that within the next month or two, Google Meet is going to have some different changes that are going to come up. So then when you're done your Google Meet, you are just going to click off of your Meet by using this little phone hang-up button. So you're going to close off on there. And then if you accidentally close that, you can return right away by pressing rejoin.